Hello. In this video, we are going to take two strings of even length and print out the first half of the long string plus the short string plus the second half of the long string. So what this means is I have to take two inputs, figure out which one is longer, and then break that longer word apart before I put it together. And to do that, we need to use some what's called a substring technique, which is shorthanded using these square brackets in Python. So let's just look at two examples here. So if my first example here as indexes, the word Paul has indexes 0 to 3 and a length of 4. Remember, the indexes always go from 0 to 1 minus the length. The first half would be PA, and then the second half would be UL. That's pretty self-explanatory. So if I take the length of this and divide it by 2, I'm going to integer divide it by 2, I get 2, right? Because 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now let's look at the word monkey. Monkey has a length of 6, and the indexes are 0 to 5. So if I take the length of monkey, which is 6, divided by 2, I get 3. Now, this question is about even length words. And let's just take a second and talk about odd length words. The problem with this question, if we start talking about odd length words, is what do I do with that odd letter? And that's up to you. You might put this letter at the end of the first half or at the start of the second half. But what I want to highlight here is that if I was working with an odd length and I took the length divided by 2, I would get actually 2.5, not an integer value, which is going to pose a problem when we start thinking about these things in terms of indexes. So this is a case where integer division becomes really useful, because what it does is it takes the length, divides it by 2, and chops off the integers, chops off the decimals. So let's just quickly remind ourselves on how we can pull out parts of a word. So I have an example here, word Paul, and Paul's index is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I can use square brackets. I can say word at 0, and that's going to pull out the letter in the 0th index. I can also use this notation, which is one number colon a second number. This is going to go from 0 inclusive to 3 exclusive. So that's going to pull out PAU. A nice little trick is if you take the second number minus the first number, you're always going to get the length of the result. So if I want PA, I'm going to go 0 colon 2, which gives me PA. And if I want UL, I'm going to go from 2 to 4. Remember, inclusive, exclusive. So I'm going to go from 2, which is U, L, and I go right to 4, but I don't include that. And that's why this is a valid point. Now there's lots of shorthand notations and different ways to do this using some nice features that Python's included, but we're not going to talk about those right now. So now let's look at the case if we try to do this with monkey. Well, if I want the first 3 letters, it's going to go 0 to 3. And if I want the second 3 letters, I'm going to go from 3 to 6. So this might give you pause, because if I run my program to take inputs of different lengths, how can I actually know what these numbers are supposed to be? We notice in both these cases 0 is the same, but that's it. So what we want to do in these situations is we always want to link our values to the length. And that's the key here. So if I take a look at 2, I ask myself, how does 2 relate to the length of Paul? Well, this happens to be the length of Paul divided by 2. It's half of it. Likewise here, monkey is the length of 6 divided by 2 is 3. So now we look at this one. This is the length of Paul, and that's the length of monkey. So if we come down here now, I've kind of taken my old program and I've stripped out the conditional statement. So I take 2 inputs and I make a third word, and I find the length of my 2 words, and I check if the length of the first word is greater than the second word. So in that case, I'm going to make temp front half. Well, that's going to be, I want to get the front half of word 1. So that's going to be word 1. And it's going to go from 0 to len word 1 divided by 2. Temp second half equals word 1, len word 1 divided by 2 to len word 1. And then word 3 becomes temp first half plus word 2 plus temp second half. So notice what I've done here is I've taken the length of the first word the person inputted and halved it to get the first half correctly. And then in my second one, I've done the same thing to get the starting one to the end of the word. So all I have to do now is take this logic and paste it down below. But instead of word 1, we're going to be working with word 2, word 2, word 2, word 2, word 2, and here we're going to switch this to word 1. So let's take a look and see if this works. Input a word, monkey, Paul. Monkey's a longer word, so mun, Paul, key. And if I run this again, Paul, monkey, same result. If I go Paul and is, pa is ul, and we'll just switch this, is Paul, pa is ul. I hope this video helped, and as always, don't hesitate to ask any questions. Have a great day.